Friends, today I shall talk to you about how we have different kind of responses to certain things in our lives. How do we react to certain support or hope that is offered to us by people around us? A few of us, we become uh, too hopeful, our expectations rise. It brings about world of a difference in our life. Few of us go towards the right direction with a lot of confidence, and at times it also proves to be fatal for us. I shall try to put across this point to you through three small stories. The first one, I'm sure you all are familiar with, that is of Birbal's Khichdi. In that, what happens? Uh, Akbar has kept a price on a during the time of winters, that whosoever is able to stand in the Ganges a whole night, I shall give him such and such price. So many people try it out, and they all come out of it before the dawn, which is the deadline, and only one poor fellow keeps on standing there in spite of severe cold. And then, before giving him the prize, Akbar calls him and asks him that, what is the secret? So many went for this competition, and you are the only one to come out of it successful. So can you tell us what kept you standing there? And this poor man, out of innocence, out of honesty, tells him that, I kept on looking at the small lamp that was glowing in the walls of the palace. So I tried to draw the heat from that particular lamp. And then Akbar says, well, you have cheated. You have got the heat from the lamp, and hence you are not going to get the prize. So this man goes to Birbal, and then as we all know, Birbal was an extremely clever person, and he wanted Akbar to realize his mistake, and he calls him to his home to have khichdi. And then he puts one pot after the another, and he burns the firewood under the pot of that khichdi, and keeps the khichdi pot very high. And Akbar asks him that, how will it get cooked? And he says, you wait, my honor, it will get cooked after some time. And when he's very hungry, he gets irritated. He asks him that, how is it possible for the khichdi to get cooked unless and until you give it proper heat from lesser distance? And then Birbal makes him realize his fault. He tells him that how can that poor man, how could he have got the heat from the lamp from your palace wall? And Akbar realizes his mistake and gives away the prize to the poor man. The second story which comes to my mind is about a man who is almost like gone bankrupt, and he is sitting in the park and contemplating that, if nothing would come his way on that particular day, he would commit suicide. Just at that time, he looks across the bench on which he was sitting, and he finds another gentleman sitting there, an old gentleman. The old gentleman tries to talk to him. Initially, he avoids talking to him, but then the old gentleman persists and asks him, my young man, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking so sad? And somehow, like, he shares his problem with him and says he has almost gone bankrupt, and if nothing comes through, he may commit suicide. Just then the old man, he takes out his checkbook and signs a check for few thousands of dollars for this man, and says, keep it for yourself and use it, and then when time comes, you return it to me. Take it as a loan. And this old man goes away from there. The story says that this man, he kept that check with him. He didn't use it, but that particular check gave him so much of confidence. He went back to his job, whatever he was doing. He did it so well for almost a year that he became extremely rich and sound. So one fine day, after a year or so, when he was sitting at the park waiting, because the old man had, I forgot to tell you, the old man had asked him that he will be coming next year to get the money back from him. So he goes back to the same spot and sits there and waits for the old man to come so that he can hand over the same check which he had not got encashed to the old gentleman with the thanks. Now, the old gentleman does turn up, but while he is sitting with him, what does he see? He sees that when he tells him that, well, he has got back to his business and he is doing well now, and when he is about to return the check to him, he finds that few people have come from nearby mental asylum in the vehicles, and there were few people who come and take away the old man, telling this young man that, well, he was from mental asylum and he keeps on coming to this park again and again, and whosoever he meets, he gives away to them a check. That is the time when this man comes to know that the check that he was holding with him so dearly was not a genuine check. But the point remains that whether the check was genuine or not, he had got the confidence with that check itself that whenever it is possible, he can withdraw the money. He didn't take out the money, that's a different story. But the point is, like, the false check also gave him so much hope that he didn't commit suicide. Rather, he went back to his whatever business he was doing with confidence, and he came out of it so well. The third story, which narrates a little a tragic event, is about again a kind of hope given by a king. A false promise was that it so happened that a king returns, while returning to his palace inside, he finds the guard standing outside his palace. It's again very cold, and he asks him that you're wearing such a say few clothes, you don't have warm clothes around you, are you not feeling cold? The guard says, well, your honor, I am feeling cold, but it's my duty to guard the palace, so I'm here. And this king tells him that, well, I'll go inside and send you a few better warm clothes so that you can wear them and perform your duty better. And this king goes inside. He was a careless sort of a king, and he forgets to send any warm clothes to him that particular night. And what happens? Early in the morning when he goes out, he finds that the guard was lying dead. And before dying, he had written a small note for the king, on which he had written that, Your Majesty, all these years I have been performing my duty, but never had I this kind of expectation that you had risen in my heart of providing me with the warm clothes. So I was capable of performing my duties with whatever clothes I had, but your false promise raised my hope so much, and since you didn't send the clothes, I was not able to sustain this cold. I felt that this night was the coldest, and the end result was he passed away. So it all depends on how we react. In the first story of Birbal and Akbar, realizes his folly and gives away the prize. The second story, we saw how the man had gained confidence with the false check also. And in the last one, we find that same kind of hope and expectation can also do harm to us. So the lesson that we learn from this, I think, is if we are getting some kind of support and hope from somewhere, we should not be as much dependent on it as the third poor man outside the palace gate was. Rather, we should look at it hopefully and with positive spirit and try to do our best. If we do our duty, if we perform our duty well, surely things will be better for us. Thank you.